What's up, Brooks?
Hello, Baron.
How are you this beautiful Tuesday morning?
No, I slept well, and that's a good start. That's a good start. God woke me up this morning. That's how I'm doing. How about you, man?
Groggy, um,
Yeah, that's a good word.
disjointed, I guess. But
Discombobulated.
there you go. That's a good word. But we're waking up. That's what we're here for. We've got Wildcard weekend to talk about. A lot of
I'm
crazy
excited to talk
action.
about this. Actually, this was a
Yeah,
great wild card weekend. I'm excited to get into this episode.
yeah. It was a lot of great games. Some better than others. Obviously we had a couple snooze fests to end the weekend. But yeah, let's just jump right into it then.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the greatest podcast on earth. Nothing agreed. We have a great show for you tonight, so stay tuned and buckle up.
Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to another episode of Nothing Agreed. Back with the boys today. Wild card weekend. We finally are wrapped up here, and we can do an episode. Wow. I mean, let's just say, what a wild card weekend. I know it didn't end exactly how maybe you wanted it to end, or maybe how everyone in the NFL wanted it to end as well with the Monday and Sunday night games, but we had record breaking lead changes, record breaking game ends. I mean, it was amazing wild card weekend. Always had to ask you, always ask me, but Baron, how was your weekend? How was your weekend?
Awful.
If anyone doesn't know, you can just look at the flag in the back if you're understanding why it's awful.
I don't know if
Should we
they could
just
see it that well, but yeah.
That's true. But we can either get straight into that game or we can start from the top.
We're gonna go in order. I think that's what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might as well get some stuff out of the way because I got a lot to say.
All
This
right, let's do it.
episode. But yeah, game one was Rams Panthers. Nail biter down to the end. Could Carolina pull it off? These are the games that surprisingly they had been winning all season. Home underdogs have larger double digit underdogs. So yeah, that's where they were. They had the lead less than 2 minutes, I think it was. Defense couldn't hold on. They were playing great all game, but couldn't let off that one last score, and then ultimately the young Bryce Young in that offense could not get their team back into scoring position to win the game, and the Rams move on. What are your initial reactions to the game, Brooks?
Oh God, I hate my initial reactions from the game because everyone is gonna look at me and they're gonna say, actually, that makes no sense. But for some reason, you look at the NFC teams. This just makes me believe the Rams are going to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but I picked the Rams actually to win the Super Bowl. This game, you could say, well, let's turn back now because you played against the Panthers, the measly Panthers,
Mm-hmm.
and you only won by 3.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I take the positives, okay? In a game that you're so heavily can be favored, sometimes when you lose near the end, your team can just collapse because you feel like you should be winning that game and it's gotten to this point.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what it is. You've seen so many big upsets that come down to the last drive, and the favorite team just flukes it. You can talk about my survivor all day long. But the Rams, they still hung in there. And you look at the weapons that now that Higbee is fully back, Parkinson makes that game winning touchdown. Devontae Adams is back. He didn't have the craziest game. Puka Nakua was on fire that game. You still have Kyron Williams. You still have a pretty decent offensive line. And you still have who I think is the MVP of the league this year, Matthew Stafford. And you come into that game, you put up 34 points. The defense, I know the defense can get a little bit better, but the offense did their job against a Panthers team, by the way, which at home has caused a lot of upsets. So you go into Carolina, you get the job done. This to me shows that the Panthers at home, good team. The Rams fended off, and their next opponent, we'll of course get into that in the next episode. But I kind of like the Rams' path now. I like the Rams' path now. I'll preview it more. I'll do more research. But as a face value guy, just the experience they have, the guys they have leading it, I like the Rams still to go to the Super Bowl, and they're still my pick to win it.
All right. Yeah, definitely a good shout there. I actually wrote down my initial reactions to the Saturday games. I don't know why. I just thought I would, but
Smart.
yeah, I guess because they're initial, and I kind of want to review them. So yeah, we'll start with the Rams, and I said this defense is going to cost them. Um, Obviously, I feel a little bit differently about that now. Like you said, take a step back, look at it, and be like, first game jitters. That usually happen if you go back and look at every team that kind of won the Super Bowl. I feel like a lot of them kind of struggled in the wild card. I feel like that's just something that kind of happens. So you won the game. That's all that matters at the end of the day. But yeah, my initial reaction is this defense is what's going to ultimately fail them in the postseason. You just don't like to see. I forget the exact score, but how many points they let up to that young Panthers offense, who really was not.
34-31 final.
Yeah, it wasn't anything really that special. Outside of that, I guess you could say Jalen Coker emergence this season, along with Tet McMillan and Bryce Young playing better this season. But I think jury's still going to be out on him. Obviously, I think he'll get an extension, but probably nothing major yet. But then my initial takeaway for the Panthers is this defense is something that's going to be very good next year. I think, again, this was a historically bad defense last season. Missing some players to injury, that could have been it. Coaching, that could have been it. But they've done a complete 180. This is one of the better defenses of the postseason that I saw this last weekend, at least in terms of when it mattered. Obviously, the Rams ran up the score, but you see them make you saw them make key plays. If this wasn't like you said, a Matthew Stafford-led offense, I think this Panthers team would have been. The score would have been much lower for the opposing team, and this Panthers team would have won. I just think it was. There's nothing you can do against that Rams offense, like you said, very, very good. But this Panthers defense is going to be good in the future, I believe. I think they've got pieces they can build around. That secondary played pretty damn well, aside from letting up all the points. But I think they have something to look forward to down there in Carolina. In terms of the defensive side of the football, I think that's something they can build upon going into next season, and something that might be able to take them right back to the postseason next year with how that division looks. But obviously, we've got a long offseason to go, and we'll talk about that more in the offseason. But Brooks, I kind of mentioned it, but what do you think the Panthers need to do to get back on track for next season?
Yeah, we talked about New Year's resolutions last time we were on this, and so I guess we're not doing New Year's resolutions, but we're still kind of down that road.
I got a new term for this one. I think you might like it. Are we rebuilding or are we retooling?
For the Panthers?
Yeah.
We are retooling.
Perfect.
We are retooling the Panthers. You know me as the NFC South truther here, just because my Falcons are in it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look. First of all, I'll quickly glance over each team in the NFC South just to say why I'm retooling. I think the Bucs are actually going to be a worse team next year than they are this year. That is my opinion. I think it's going to be the case. They're losing some names, and age is going to catch up to them. And there's only so many names that they have that are young and good. Mm-hmm. Second, you look at the Saints. I think the Saints are 1 year away from starting contending. Second year of Tyler Shuck, but he still needs those weapons. You need still to replace that running back position we talked about. And that defense has some couple names they need to get either out or replace. The Falcons are in a lot of turmoil right now, in my opinion. Is Penix the guy? Is he not the guy? They have names, but now they're losing a couple star players. In my opinion, maybe not star, but Kyle Pitts, second leading receiver in tight end yards this season. So I think you're losing some names across the board. If you can retool these Panthers, I think they are a 9-win team. But 9 wins next year might do it again. It might do it. You know, they were, 8-9 this year? Yeah. 9 wins can do it next year. So I think they just need to retool. They need to get 1 win better. And I think they will get there. You look at also, little hot, quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know the NFC South. Panthers are going to play first place teams. That sucks.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say.
I think the next best challenge is the Falcons, and the Falcons have one of the hardest schedules next year. They landed a third place schedule, which landed them the Rams, the Chiefs, and one more really good team that's in third place. I forgot who it is. Oh, I think it might
the Bengals.
It might be, yeah. I think it's the Bengals.
They might not be good next season though. So
I think the Bengals were already on the roster for AFC North, but they landed 3 really good teams. Chiefs and Rams are only 2 I can remember, but those are 2 really good teams. It might be something like that. But teams that can win football games very well next year. Okay. So you look at the Bucs. I think they're going to get worse.
Dolphins.
And the same thing. the Saints have a 4th place schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I still think they can maybe make a run, but they won't be enough. So give me the Panthers to retool. And my New Year's resolution is keep that Tet and Coker wide receiver unit going. You
Mm-hmm.
found some. You want to have some commodity, or what is it? Just I forget the word, but just keep the same guys around.
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. There we go. You want some camaraderie. Keep the same guys around. Keep them 2 around for Bryce Young. Build more chemistry.
I agree. This is definitely a retool scenario. Like I said, I think you add a few more pieces to this defense, they're going to be good next season. That's where my focus would be this offseason. I think while you're not totally in love with the production you're getting from your young offensive core, they are still young. You don't want to break them up. You want to keep these receivers together. I think Leggett can still find some value as a wide receiver 3, rotating as a 2 in that offense. Maybe get some tight end help, some inside help. I don't think this is the offseason to address running back when you have Hubbard and Dowdle playing at the way they did. So if you do want to go offense, I'd reinvest in the line, kind of like what the Bears did this offseason. You see what it's done for their offense so far this season. So, yeah, that would be my recommendation for the Panthers. We'll talk about the NFC South later in the offseason. Moving on to the Packers and Bears. The reignition of heated division rivalries, Brooks. Caleb Johnson and Matt LaFleur. Reports saying Matt LaFleur might stay, despite earlier reports of the season saying it was very closely tied to playoff success. Let's talk about the game. Packers and Bears. Packers went up early, 21-3. In fact, it was 21-6, I believe, going into the fourth quarter, until the Bears had an offensive flurry of 25 points. Obviously, another nail-biter came down to the final 2 minutes, and the Bears won a thriller over the Packers. Brooks, immediate reactions to that game.
My immediate reactions to that game, gosh, I am a Matt LaFleur out guy. That is my stance. That is my stance. Now, I have had some very heated debates, Baron, about this wildcard weekend, just with either the general public or some of my friends, which I would love to bring on this podcast. I think you also are Matt LaFleur out guy, just from that reaction, maybe.
Well, I think my thing is, we'll talk about this a little later as well, but when you look at who's available, right, I think this is kind of the year, and I think I saw an article on this too, but for a lot of those teams, and I think this is why you saw Miami fire Mike McDaniel even after a whole offseason of being like, we're going to keep him, is you look at the guys available this coaching cycle. These are guys that you take a chance on. These are guys that you look at your guy that you're like, oh, I don't feel that great about you. Sorry. And you're going to can him and take a chance on these guys. Like that's who's available right now. And I think that's kind of the direction the Packers need to go in.
I agree. I think you look at LaFleur, and we know you heavily emphasize sometimes one player, one mistake. His biggest game he's been to is that 2020 NFC Championship game where he had MVP Aaron Rodgers and he's kicking a field goal at like the 20-yard line on like a 4th and 3 with 2 minutes and change. I know you have 4 timeouts technically.
And that was against Tom Brady, right?
That was against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who won the Super Bowl that year. You look at the next couple of years, it's been all 7 seeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is such a pessimistic and horrible way to look at this. With the expanded playoff, if that's not a thing, LaFleur doesn't make the playoffs the last 4 years.
Nope.
I know that's a bad way to look at it, but I think it's also a good way to look at it because you're not putting yourself in a good position.
It's a very good way to look at it.
Because you're not playing the second best NFC team, most likely, right? We can make the argument that the second best NFC team, which is the Bears, was not actually the second best NFC team because of the Niners and the Rams, but still.
But I mean, look at the one year they won from the 7th seed. Who'd they beat?
They beat the Cowboys, which was a very bad. I remember that game. Very bad.
Oh, I do too. But again, that's also you're playing the Cowboys in the playoffs,
and that was a Mike McCarthy-led Cowboys too.
I think that would have been.
Not saying that because he sucks. I'm just saying that because some people have opinions on him, and that either validates or invalidates that. But
I'm just saying it's the Cowboys in the playoffs on the wild card round. That's a game they lose. I'm not going to chalk. I would if. I don't know how many people watching this watched that game, but that game was more the Cowboys beating themselves than the Packers beating them, because dude, there were like two 50-yard touchdowns where the receiver was untouched. There's no one guarding him. That's just bad defense. But yes, back to the Packers.
To the Packers. I am still a LaFleur fire guy. Now, this is going to sound hypocritical. I wouldn't mind LaFleur in Atlanta, but it looks like that won't happen. That sounds very hypocritical. But I think for the Packers situation where you are, the guy I was arguing against, he said, look, the Packers went through a lot of injuries this year, right? Even though they went through a lot of injuries, a lot of the injuries he named are kind of back half injuries.
Right.
And you still only won 9 games. And that tie to the Cowboys, by the way, which was you came back and tied it, right? Not like the Cowboys took that away from you. You earned, or you had to go get that tie.
Yeah.
If they don't get that tie, I'm pretty sure they actually don't
make the playoffs. No, they don't.
So that's a really bad year for Mike McCarthy. This team went all in on Micah Parsons, and it didn't really pan out. And wow, I can't believe we're going to agree on this, because I was low-key debating you on this.
Yep.
But you got to go out and get yourself a true
Thank you. Thank you.
And that is not to say, I think the Packers actually have one of the deepest wide receiver rooms.
But that doesn't mean shit if you don't have a guy that can take over when it matters.
That's exactly what I'm going to say. Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Matthew Golden. I know I'm forgetting one other person.
Who cares? They suck.
There's a very deep wide receiver room. But you need yourself a guy like a Drake London. Right?
Can I butt in here, though? This is a point. This is a point I really wanted to bring up, though, because, and I love how you segued off of the Michael Parsons injury, because I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. I know we've texted a little back and forth about this, but I'm gonna say it. Yeah. Short term, Packers lost this trade, right? You gave up 2 firsts. Kenny Clark, who cares how good Kenny Clark is? He's old. That wasn't that big of a deal. It was mainly the 2 first-round picks you gave up to go get. And I'll give him his credits. One of the best pass rushers in the league, top 5 for sure. All-around defenders, maybe not, but pass rushers, definitely top 5, probably top 3, undoubtedly. Yeah. Well, top 5. But yeah, that's what you went out and traded for, Michael Parsons. And again, it's gonna suck. I'm gonna play. I'm going off of what I saw, though. This is a Packers defense in the wild card round on the road, without Micah Parsons, held the Bears team scoreless, or not scoreless, but didn't give up a touchdown for 3 whole quarters. No Micah Parsons on the field. Imagine if they had that sort of capital to now go out and get a wide receiver one. Or went out last season and got one, a guy to really take over that game, like I said. And I don't know if you remember that closely, but I watched that finals Packers drive, right? I think there were 3 balls that were thrown beautifully by Jordan Love. He couldn't have put them any better to his receivers, where if they were caught, it very well ends the game, Packers move on, or sets them up for then the game-winning play, and all 3 of them were dropped. Christian Watson, Dobbs, and Jaden Reed, all 3 of them dropped game-winning touchdowns. Shout out Matthew Golden. He had the best game of his career so far in the wildcard round, so I think that is something positive if you want to take away from this, if you're a Packers fan. So maybe there's hope that he can step up and become that wide receiver one, but, I mean, kind of like what I told Brooks the other day too, though. He's arguably the worst wide receiver drafted in the first 3 rounds, so just based off of rookie play. That's not really an opinion. That's just looking at his statistics. So, yeah, I think the Packers are in kind of an odd spot this offseason because, I mean, everyone kind of questioned the Michael Parsons trade. You already had a pretty good defense. Obviously, you want to make it the best you can, but, again, that's a lot of capital. And now you don't really have draft capital, to go out and get a high receiver in this year's draft because you don't have a first-round pick or next year. And but also now you don't really have a ton of capital to trade for a guy, where this offseason, and again, we haven't seen any yet, but we could see guys like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, guys like that become available for trade. And, yeah, and it just seems like the Packers are going to miss out on those sweepstakes because they don't have any sort of offers that other teams can make for those players because they gave it all up for Micah Parsons. where you look back at it and probably didn't really need him. So that's my whole take on that situation. I'm going to say the Packers are immediate losers of this trade. For one, because he wasn't out there to help you win. Maybe if he was out there, took over late in the fourth quarter, maybe the Bears never score a touchdown. Maybe that's the reasoning. But yeah, you can't give up a 21-3 lead in the playoffs, especially when you're playing a division rival like that. And then my initial takeaway from the Bears, if we want to talk about them for a second, they need to get going a lot sooner on offense if they want to make it any further. Like defensively, had a rough start, let up 21 points, but you can't ask for much more following that. Offensively, this is a Ben Johnson-led team, not just offense, a team led by Ben Johnson. So I want to see points get put up earlier or you're going to get blown out next round.
Yeah. I just want to double check something before I make a statement.
Okay.
But I think if Micah Parsons is playing this game, I mean, I got to pick the Packers to win this game. Let's say Micah Parsons doesn't play the first 3 quarters. He only plays that fourth quarter. It makes so much of a difference when you watch Micah Parsons as a speed rusher. I think out of the top 3 guys in the league who are edge rushers, I think we're all going to agree who those 3 are: T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons.
Max Crosby.
I still think those 3 are better than Max Crosby.
That's fair.
Now, you look at those 3 guys. Micah Parsons is and Max Crosby. We can throw Crosby in there because this makes my point. He is the speed rusher out of those 4 guys. Of course, TJ is a little more speed rusher, but that guy, Micah Parsons, is a speed rusher. When a quarterback scrambles and Parsons is chasing after him, there's not many guys that escape him. So Caleb Williams' improvisation that he does that makes the Bears so many plays kind of goes down the drain a little if Micah Parsons is out there. You look at the offense of the Packers, right? Who's one guy who was actually their best receiver this year? Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
If he is there, I think that helps as well. I think that's the only case you can make for the Packers, right? Yeah. But I was going to say it later. I'm going to say it now just because you've already brought it up. There's no way in hell A.J. Brown is worth a first rounder.
Oh, absolutely not.
He'll be 29 years old next season. Mm-hmm. He's turning 29 in June. You need to go get yourself a guy like that because, in my opinion, your window is there, maybe later, but you need to capitalize with what you have now. You can't let these wide receivers keep developing because those mid wide receivers are going to ask for non-mid wide receiver money. You need to go get yourself a big body wide receiver 1. Go get out and get yourself a big body wide receiver 1. That's what I think you should do. They have a lot of quick little guys. Christian Watson is their downfield threat, and Christian Watson is not a bruiser type wide receiver. He's low-key a beat you with speed and beat you with a vertical kind of guy.
Yeah.
You have Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Golden. Those 3 are speed guys.
But yeah, no, you're right. You need someone who, besides Tucker Kraft, because, I mean, even if he plays, you can easily take him away with a double team. Like, you need someone reliable that you can go to over the middle. But I don't even think it needs to be. I just think you need someone who, in big moments, you can trust to get some separation and catch the ball when it hits them right in the hands. I mean, that's all you can really ask for. And yeah, I agree. Matt LaFleur needs to go. I feel like this is the 4th or 5th time we've sat here talking about the Packers need a wide receiver 1 if they want to win anything in this league, and they don't do it. They keep telling you, no, we have this amazing wide receiver room. We're going to get it done with them. Look at what the Chiefs have been doing. They've been getting it done with a great quarterback and a tight end and some mid receivers. Well, that didn't really work out for them this season. The Chiefs didn't make the playoffs because the rest of the team couldn't hold up. Shout out Packers, made the playoffs, had a lot of ups and downs this season, made the splash trade at the beginning of the season. But yeah, looking back at it, everyone's just going to remember all the drops, I feel like. There's drops late in the game. We're going to talk about drops and how those get remembered. Don't worry. But I feel like that's what everyone's going to remember. So yeah, just go out. Just do it. Like, stop putting it off. Go get a good wide receiver, an actual good wide receiver, like a top 10 guy in the league, not a top 32 guy or a bunch of top 32 guys. Go get a top 10, top 5 guy. See what he can do with Jordan Love. Like that just seems like the easiest thing you can do when you have a franchise quarterback that is just can't seem to get it done. Go get him someone he can throw the ball to all the time.
Quick sticky note before we move on. Actually, I want to touch on that point. I think Jordan Love, if you're a wide receiver one, is actually a more viable destination than some of these quarterbacks that have complained about not having a wide receiver one. Let me make my point for a second. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, what are the two things been? We don't have a wide receiver one. We don't have a true wide receiver guy. Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs, but not anymore. Lamar Jackson, still kind of looking for that guy, in my opinion. But the biggest thing those two guys had that Jordan Love doesn't is running the football.
And he needs to start doing that more. He has the ability.
Jordan Love is not a I'm gonna go beat you on the outside kind of guy. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson can beat you anywhere on the field.
Well, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are two very different types of runners.
Correct. And I was saying Josh Allen's more of a plow you over kind of guy. He's gonna get those extra 4 yards, but he's still pretty quick. That's just Jordan. That's not Jordan Love's play style. So when you have a wide receiver one and you have an ego of a wide receiver one, you know Jordan Love is going to throw the ball 40 times a game. You just know 40 to 50 times a game it can happen. So that's my thing.
Yeah, but the Packers also do like to run the ball. They establish their run game. They have Josh Jacobs for a reason. But I agree. You need to go out and get a good wide receiver for Jordan Love before he gets frustrated. Looking at the Bears before we move on, like we said, got to get offense going sooner. We're going to talk about them more next week or next episode. And we'll move on to Bills Jaguars, the second cat team that played this weekend. And the second one that lost, unfortunately, at home. I know everyone was waiting to see it. Jacksonville, for the first time in Trevor Lawrence's career, looked like there was some optimism for postseason success, and it didn't work out. Great game. Really is a blur to me at this point. It's been a while, a couple days, but I just remember. All I really remember is that brutal last drive interception. And that like we said, that's all that's really going to get talked about all off season is how you finish the game. So
yeah, here's what I can say that I didn't like the Jaguars. I feel like they needed to run the football a lot more.
Yeah.
The Bills are playing who are they playing next? They're playing the Broncos?
No. Yes. Or yes. They'll play the Broncos.
Yes, they're playing the Broncos Saturday at 4:30. Get RJ Harvey going because this Bills run defense is horrid. Awful. That's why I took ETN over yards that hit. I was scared that wasn't going to hit because Tootin was running all over that defense. He was averaging like 11 yards a carry. You should be running the ball on first down. You should be, even if you don't get it on first down, let's say you get 2 yards, 2nd and 8. Low key, I would hand the ball off again because it was working so much. Or at least give Trevor a read. Give him a read option. Because Trevor Lawrence, he's one of those guys that not quick, but can definitely beat you like with his legs. So I'm angry that they didn't establish the run. You look at the Bills, they just got it done when it needs to happen. They wanted the tush-push band. They used it 4 times. Good for you. If I'm trying to remember who had a great game this game, I mean, Josh Allen had a great game this game.
Yeah.
James Cook didn't really stand out. I'm trying to remember what receiver had a really good game.
Number 14, I forget his name.
It wasn't Khalil Shakir.
No, it was number 14. I forget his name though.
Yeah, it wasn't Parker Washington. I know had a good game for the Jags.
Yeah.
But who was it? Who am I slipping up on? Khalil Shakir, 12 catches for 82 yards, number 10. Tyrell Shavers, number 14. He had a great game, but he was blocking a lot. Brandon Cooks, man. That's who I was forgetting. Brandon Cooks signed later in the season. Your team is not determined by week 1. Makes that big catch down the field on that busted coverage. If you're a Jags fan, let's just start with the Jags here. If you're a Jags fan, it hurts. I understand. Technically, you're the 3 seed. They're the 6 seed. This was probably, if you're a Jags fan, this is probably the worst out of the 3 teams that you could have played.
Oh, easily. This is the only one that had postseason, I guess.
I can see them going to the Super Bowl, or I can see them making the AFC Championship.
Well, not that, but they've had, if you look at C.J. Stroud's Texans, they've won one playoff game because Justin Herbert sucks. You look at Justin Herbert's Chargers, that was the other wild card round. That doesn't really need to that speaks for itself. So yeah, this was easily the Bills are easily the most experienced playoff team. They know how to win wild card games. Let's put it that way. Granted, they've never won on the road. That was a big achievement. The Bills had lost their last 8 road playoff games. So shout out to the Bills for that. But yes, definitely did not want to play the Bills round 1 out of the 3 wild card teams. You can make an argument for the Texans. But based on what I saw offensively last night, I would much rather have played them than the Bills.
So my biggest thing is this as well. The teams, you played the Texans already twice this year. You went 1-1. You won at home. That's where you're gonna play, right?
Mm-hmm.
You played the Chargers at home. You beat them 35-6. Now I know it's really hard to beat a team twice, but you'd rather go play those 2 teams that you know you can win, and you can look back at this is what worked and this is what didn't.
Right.
And it just is unfortunate for them. I still think this is the team to beat in the AFC South next year. We'll see how much pieces move around, but Jacksonville is another team that's like, hey, we need to go out there and we need to get ourselves a true wide receiver 1 if Brian Thomas Jr. is not going to play like his rookie Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah. I still kind of think you need to maybe give him another year. I feel like you got to remember.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying get rid of him.
No, I'm not saying get rid of him, but
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I would not, if I'm Jacksonville, I'm not spending this offseason on a receiver. You just traded for Jacoby Myers. We'll see how that pans out. Obviously, he also had a late game drop that was not great for them. Or no, he was the one that had the tip up on the interception too. So.
That was a contested catch.
Yeah. I'm not going to blame that one on him,
yeah.
but that's where I was remembering him from. Anyway, I think you still got to let Brian Thomas, because you also have Travis Hunter. Everyone forgets he's on the team. Is he going to eventually step up and become that two-way player that he keeps saying he was, or are they going to assign him to a side of the ball? We don't know. He's always in the mix to keep that wide receiver spot interesting for the Jaguars. And I would argue before he got injured later in the season, he started to come alive more as a receiver, at least in the NFL. So maybe they elevate him to a full-time wide receiver and he steps up and becomes the one. I just don't know. I think if I am the Jaguars this offseason, retooling defense, because I'm sure you're going to lose some free agents. I'd focus on retaining free agents. And then go and let's work on this line too. If we get a good offensive line, betters the run game, gives Trevor Lawrence more time to throw the football, and it just makes everything easier on the offense. I look around, you got your franchise quarterback, at least for now. You look at the skill positions, those are mostly filled. Maybe if you want to go out and get a good tight end. In fact, there's some top tight ends that will hit free agency, and I like Jacksonville as a location for them. You mentioned Kyle Pitts. It could be an interesting spot for him to go. I would like that a lot. But yeah, I think if you're going to look at the draft, you got to go defense. But yeah, it really just sucks. Like Brooks said, this was one of the better rosters, I think, in the AFC going into the playoffs. They were easily the hottest team going into the playoffs. But yeah, ultimately, I think when you play a Bills team that just, I think, has more experience in knowing what to do to win in a wild card game. Yeah, it's just what it all comes down to. Don't worry, Duval will be back next season. I agree. I think this will be the team to beat in the AFC South. They might be better in the 3 seed next year too, Brooks. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah,
here's what I was gonna say.
I'm pretty optimistic on the Jaguars next season. And I'd also not to like pat myself on the back, but I was very high on them in the offseason after the draft. So just want to throw that out there.
There you go. Well, I am also a little optimistic for them. They were the number 1 rush defense this year, actually, in the regular season. I think that's what you got to retain. Yeah. You got to keep that. That also led to them being a bottom half, but like at the top of the bottom half in pass defense. But I think that's kind of what happens when you stop the run. You're going to give up a lot more passing yards, or you're going to at least see a lot more passing looks. So I think the defense was actually pretty solid. I think this offense, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but you just named the wide receivers: Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, Parker Washington, right?
Oh, yeah,
Jacoby Myers. Those are some good names.
Yeah.
But are they good enough names? Are you getting yourself another Packers wide receiver room at the AFC? right? If Brian Thomas
Sure.
Jr. doesn't play like rookie Brian Thomas Jr. next year, you still need your guy. And is Parker Washington your guy? Because Jacoby Myers, let's see how much he can keep
He's
that
old.
production up.
Yeah, he's old.
But yeah, exactly. Travis Hunter, I think, is still too undersized and too skinny to be a true wide receiver one. He's more of a slot guy. And Brian Thomas Jr. just needs to pick it up. Parker Washington's not going to be that guy. That's what I'm saying. Then you have a guy like Travis Etienne, good solid running back. Trevor Lawrence, I actually would put him near Jordan Love in those QB rankings. I mean, this team has an implement of the Packers offense in the AFC. That's my thoughts.
Sure.
I feel like you're going to be stuck if you don't. Someone needs to step up, and they don't need to make a move. They just need someone to step up, and I hope that happens to them. Because honestly, I think Jacksonville, to me, is one of the most easy franchises to like because there's not really
Yeah.
an enemy to have with Jacksonville.
Right.
So I want to see what they do. Should we talk about the Bills?
No, let's talk about them next episode.
Not like what they needed in the offseason, but about the game.
Oh,
Josh Allen. Big game. I want to bring this up to you real quick. This actually may not be quick then, but there's another argument I got into about the Bills.
Oh, boy.
I don't see Josh Allen as a top 3 quarterback.
Right now.
Here's the only way I could see Josh Allen as a top 3 quarterback. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
In 2025, Josh Allen was not a top 3 quarterback.
Mm-hmm. No, he wasn't.
Okay?
Nope.
I think there's an argument he wasn't even top 5 quarterback in the league this year.
I would agree right there with you.
Okay, perfect. That already got some heat from me, but that's 2025, okay? Now, if I was starting a franchise,
Mm-hmm.
I would not take Josh Allen in my top 3 quarterbacks if I was starting a franchise. Here's why. I either want a guy who's a perennial winner, a guy that I know can get it done in the big games, and Josh Allen is one of the big games in the regular season, but we need to see it in the postseason this year. A guy that's been to the dance, or a really young quarterback that I think is going to get to those levels. So here are a couple names that I brought up. Mahomes. Mahomes is only 1 year older than Josh Allen, and we know he's won the big games. We know he can do it in the big games.
Yeah.
Okay? But he's 30. Josh Allen's 29. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be the next maybe guy in the league. You know, he's very young.
It's fair.
Third year, if I'm not mistaken. And so, or maybe even in his second year.
It's fair. Yeah, this is his second year.
Yeah. So this needs to be looked at as, hey, second year guy, he can do it. Drake May, second year guy, who's literally second in MVP talks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I call a lot of flack for this, but I love Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is a good name to have as well. Near the same age as well. I think, remember, the Titans offensive line, 32nd or 31st. Wide receivers, probably 32nd. Your running game is bottom 5 with Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard. They don't have any guys around them. And you still look, we would still go on this podcast weekly and be like, Cam Ward looks good. Even with trash around him, he looks good.
Yeah.
So that's a guy I would actually look at considering taking. But if we're talking top 3, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Patrick Mahomes. The only argument I can make for I might take Josh Allen in the top 3 is if I have one season to win a Super Bowl. One season. Even then, I would take Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think there's an argument for Joe Burrow. I think everyone forgets Joe Burrow. But people need to make an argument for Joe Burrow with the trash offensive line he's had around him, right?
Yeah.
People need to make an argument for Joe Burrow because he's gone to the dance before. He's won big games. He did it at Arrowhead. I mean, this guy did it against Josh Allen too. So let's those are names. And I call a lot of heat for this, Baron. But I said, if you want a generational winner, Jalen Hurts is a generational winner. You know, we talk about this. I would not take Jalen.
Oh, I've got a lot. Don't worry. I've got a lot to say coming up. Don't you worry.
But Jalen Hurts, besides Kevin Matullo, Jalen Hurts has won big games. He wins big games.
Mm-hmm.
So
and he plays his best. He plays his best in big games.
He's also been to the dance twice.
Yep.
And I think that's important. Guy who's been in the big games. So Josh Allen, I might take Josh Allen third in that, but I think there's names you could throw in there as well. So I understand why people say maybe Josh Allen top 3 still, MVP or Josh Allen, of course, top 3. But we're taking right now Josh Allen. No.
Well, the thing I've kind of realized in the last week, when you're talking about quarterbacks and where you're ranking them, you have to be very specific on the criteria that you value and what you're basing your quarterback rankings on. Because if you want to look at the quarterbacks from this season, who are the 5 best quarterbacks from this season? Be like Matt Stafford, Drake May. Yeah. Sam Darnold. No, I'm being dead serious. Sam Darnold. Dak Prescott, yeah. Who's the 5th?
I think personally, you can throw a Jared Goff, number 2 in passing yards.
Yeah, but he had a terrible second half of the season. I'd chalk that more up to the team. I would say, if I honestly had to pick someone, yeah, I'd say Caleb Williams. That's a good one. But if I asked you going into the season, who are the top 5 quarterbacks in the league?
Well, I'd put Josh Allen on my top 5.
I know. No. I don't say anything. Who are the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL going into the season?
I would throw Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
I'd probably throw I would still throw Matthew Stafford in my top 5.
Fair. I'll take that.
I would probably throw Josh Allen.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I actually have a video of me talking about my top 5 quarterbacks going into this league.
Okay. Well,
I do.
Okay. Well, let's just
I'm trying to speed run it. I may have snuck Justin Herbert in my top 5. So I thought he was gonna have a big year.
It's atrocious.
No.
I'm not. Okay. Okay. Well, this is also not getting to a point. Coming out of last season, who are your top 5 quarterbacks in the league? Not based off of what you saw in that singular season. Who were at that point in time, in your eyes, after the Super Bowl, after the offseason, who were the 5 best quarterbacks in your eyes? I'll go. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. And people are going to hate me. Don't give a fuck. Jalen Hurts. You can have someone else there at 5, but those are my 5 going into the season. Those are the 5. Yeah, that was. Those are the 5 best quarterbacks in my eyes going into the season. Now, if you asked anyone in the league, who do you think they would say the best quarterback in the league is? Any NFL fan, who do you think they would say?
Mahomes.
Yeah. He had a terrible season this year before injuries. He did not have a good season.
The injury was week 16.
Yeah, but he still had a terrible season. Who do you think they would have had after Mahomes?
Josh Allen.
Also, did not have a good season whatsoever. Yeah. Was bottom 15 in passing. He had a pretty good rushing season, but did not have a good year at passing. His team lost games they should not have lost. Yeah, he did not have a good year at all. And who do you think would be 3? And before you say anything, it'd probably be Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson.
Joe Burrow. I would probably say
that's
Joe
fine.
Burrow. Yeah.
They're both pretty banged up this season. Look at their games when they weren't injured. Still horrible. None of those guys. And then if you want to play devil's advocate, Jalen Hurts did not have a good season either. So all 5 of those guys had terrible seasons. But they're still going to get looked at, and we'll take Jalen Hurts out of this conversation, but the other 4 are still going to get looked at as some of the best players in the league going into next season just because of what they've done in their careers. And that's where I think Jalen Hurts gets discredited. And we're going to go ahead and segue this into the Eagles game because we've been talking way too long about the Jaguars and the Bills. But yeah, Eagles and Niners. Obviously, the Niners beat the Eagles at home.
Obviously, the Niners beat the Eagles.
Well, no shit. Yeah, well, no fucking shit. The Eagles have a retard calling plays at the offensive coordinator. Like, genuinely, I wouldn't trust him to run my fucking Madden franchise. He's so dog shit at calling plays. Like, what fucking goes on in your brain that makes you think, ooh, 4 verticals on 4th and 11, that's gonna get someone open? That's a Madden fucking play call, Brooks. That only fucking
in a cover 4 as well.
Brooks, that shit only fucking works in Madden because it's a fucking video game. They're robots. They're programmed to react to certain ways to how other things move. This isn't a fucking simulation. This is real fucking life. And this idiot has no fucking idea how it works. Like, he's literally calling Madden plays with Madden fucking logic, and it doesn't fucking work. I really hope you saw that clip of him, like, giving the final fucking play call, and both Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni are looking at him like, are you fucking stupid? Like, what are we doing? I'm like, I know you see me getting angry, but I'm still angry that he's employed by that team. Like, how has he not been fired? And that brings me to my next point. Offensive coordinator aside, obviously, Jalen Hurts did not have a great season. how much of that was based on his play calling and what he was being given to work with. No one will ever truly know because the hate for him is insane. I don't know if it's racism, Brooks, or just the simple fact that people hate the Eagles, but it's honestly kind of fucking ridiculous, the amount of slack he gets. When you look at guys that I've already fucking mentioned, like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson didn't even make the fucking playoffs. And everyone's going to look at Jalen Hurts and be like, oh, he needs a super team to win. Okay, that's fine. Joe Burrow has never made the playoffs without a top 10 defense. Jalen Hurts has done that twice. Lamar Jackson has never made the playoffs Lamar Jackson, ever since joining the Ravens, has had the most all-pros out of any quarterback on that list on his team. That kind of sounds like super teams to me. Patrick Mahomes, I'm not going to argue with that. He's amazing, but if you want to give something, he is some of the best coaches in the league working with him right now. I'm not even going to fucking talk about Josh Allen. He's a loser. I don't like the way he plays football. He's too much hero ball. I'm not going to get into it, but the Jalen Hurts discourse, it's honestly disgusting, in my opinion. I think most of it's just racism. I think, yes, he has his limitations. Is he the best at reading a football or reading a defense? No. But if he has a good coach, those limitations get hidden, just like every other quarterback in the league. But besides maybe Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, I think it's really just disgusting, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it why I think he's one of the better players in the league. I'll just let it be known. We'll move on past Jalen Hurts, but he's, in my opinion, still a top 5 quarterback in the league. But you want to look at the team, right? Obviously, a lot of people are talking about A.J. Brown. You got to go, right? He's not. You look at the contract, it's untradeable. The only way I see him getting traded is if a team takes his entire contract or is going to give us a first-round pick. Because other than that, you're not going to blow. You're not going to basically move off of him, because if you do, you're basically giving up on this window. You wouldn't have money to re-sign anyone. I genuinely just don't think he's going to get traded. I think even if he demands a trade, I think it puts us too much in cap hell when we're trying to win more Super Bowls that he's just going to have to suck it up. And yeah, we'll talk about the cap situation for the Eagles. A lot of big names are leaving. I would expect Nakobe Dean to be on a new team next season. So that'll be a big name to watch in the offseason. Dallas Goedert, that's another name that'll probably be on a new team. And yeah, maybe Jalen Carter. I don't know. I wouldn't re-sign him if I was the front office. I would re-sign Jordan Davis and Jalen Phillips first, but I don't know really. But let's talk about the biggest elephant in the room outside of Kevin Patullo, and that's Nick Sirianni. Obviously, a lot of people are calling for him to go with his buddy, which is true. Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni are very good friends, which is why he got the job. And that's just not going to happen. I mean, he just won a Super Bowl. You don't fire a guy the season after he won a Super Bowl, especially once he brings you to the playoffs, and wins the division. Like, there's just, like, everyone dogs on Sirianni about his records and, what does he do to a team? And you and I had a long conversation about this the other night, about his CEO coaching style and yada yada. And I had some people ask me this the other day or last night too, and he's like, well, has he lost the locker room? Like, do the players hate him? And I honestly don't even think he has. Like, from what I see on social media clips, from what I hear on players on podcasts, or just any sort of media that they're on, they all seem to really love him. Don't know why. I think he's a great people person. I really don't think he's lost the locker room, but he should not be allowed to ever choose his coordinator ever again. And I think that's kind of the duality with Nick Sirianni is there are things he does well. I think there is a spot for him in that building, but he has his flaws and he needs to stay out of his own way. When he does, I think good things happen. You see 2 Super Bowl appearances under his tenure, the best winning percentage of any head coach in the Super Bowl era. First head coach to win back-to-back NFC East titles in 20 years. Like, he has an impressive resume. How much is because of him? That's the big discussion. But Yeah, I think if he stays out of his way, then good things happen. But you look back to this season, the biggest thing is resting their starters against the Commanders. I think if you asked any Eagles fan, this was not a team that deserved to rest its starters. They've been playing poorly all season, at least offensively. And when you have a chance to get better playoff seeding, you should probably at least take that chance. And in a game where the Lions were beating the Bears 13-0 at halftime, he still just decided to stick with his backups, ultimately losing to the 4-12 Josh Johnson Commanders and keeping us in our third seed. And I'm not going to sit here and say that if we were the second seed, we would have beat the Packers, because they put up more points than the 49ers did. And that we already beat them once. So we keep saying it's very hard to beat the same team twice. But yeah, if you let's also play a little more devil's advocate though. If you beat the 49ers and you go to the Bears, or you go to Chicago and still lose to the Bears, we're still having this conversation. So I do think that he needs to be certainly looked under a microscope this offseason, and his role as a head coach definitely needs to be reevaluated to what he contributes to the team. Because again, I think the general consensus in the building is they still like the guy. I don't think there's any bad blood, maybe between him and A.J. Brown, who knows, but I don't think there's any ill will between him and the organization and stuff like that. So, but I'm being dead serious. If you kind of come to this conclusion that his role might be better maximized in a different position, then like I said earlier, there's a lot of good head coaches available this coaching cycle, and for a team this talented to kind of waste its window with coaching malpractice. I'm not going to say bad coaching. What Kevin Patullo did was malpractice. He does not deserve a career in football. He needs to go start accounting or finance or whatever he went to fucking college for, because football is not it. Clearly, he was riding his coattails with his best buddy for as far as he got, but that shit ends here. Kevin Patullo, you should be blacklisted from the world of football. But yeah, that's ultimately how I feel about it.
I get to speak now.
You shouldn't have to. I think I covered everything. Am I missing anything?
I think the Eagles need to retool a little bit of their offensive line. I think
absolutely. That needs to get addressed in the draft. Lane Johnson needs to retire, because that will free up cap space as well. But
unfortunately, he did not play this game, and I think Lane Johnson still has ability.
Not in the run game, though. He's a liability as a run defender, or as a run blocker.
How much does Lane Johnson actually have still in the tank is very limited.
I think you should just hang it up.
My thing is, I think this offense is fine. I mean,
I kind of agree. Yeah. And the biggest thing, I just kind of saw this yesterday too, and it's kind of crazy that we never really, us, and I say us, I mean like Eagles fans, never kind of picked up on this sooner. But it was kind of going through Devontae Smith's route tree kind of as a whole over the season, and A.J. Brown's. It was kind of comparing the two, and it's almost as if their roles as receivers have flipped from the last 3 years, where they keep trying to use A.J. Brown as this go ball, deep ball kind of specialist, and they keep trying to put Devontae Smith on all these like over the middle routes or slant routes or hitch routes, which are usually what A.J. Brown runs. So just the simple philosophy of not understanding how your fucking players work should have been fireable. Okay, like I'm still getting angry at the fact that he was even allowed in a building with a play sheet. Like, how fucking stupid are you? Like, when you can't, like, let me this last point I want to get across, because I was thinking about this in the shower last night and I was getting angry because you're struggling to run the ball as an offensive line, right? And we just talked about Lane Johnson and how he's injured, but even when he was playing, he was a liability. He was not the same run blocker he was years past. He cannot hold up the same. Guys were getting past him. Everyone, if you watch Eagles games, you saw how many times Saquon Barkley got hit in the backfield. It was a big problem all season. Tell me, Brooks, doesn't the NFL allow a rule where you can bring on a sixth offensive lineman as long as he declares eligible and you can run him in a play?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. You know how many fucking times the Eagles did that this season?
What are you gonna say? 0?
0. No creativity in terms of run scheming. Passing concepts were drawn up by a fucking middle schooler. That's what I would expect from a middle schooler drawing plays on a recess field. Yeah, it's utterly disgraceful because, I mean, quite literally, I think he took, and again, I'm going to probably catch a lot of flack for saying this, but I think he took what could have been the greatest offense this season and literally dumbed it down to the worst possible version it could be. Worst possible version.
I just feel as if, again, my feelings here, I think this offense can get back to those levels. They just need someone new calling plays, and we both agree to that. And that's just what needs to happen because I think you had a little bit of an overreaction. I still think going into this season, right, who was the number 1 running back? Probably Saquon Barkley after last year,
yeah.
Right? And I still think you look at the game he actually had against the Niners.
It wasn't bad.
If he was not crushed at the line of scrimmage in the backfield, he would get 3 yards. He would do, again, I actually think this is the Bijan and Saquon kind of what they do, which I love Bijan for. Just so nifty around defenders. I mean, he would just go around like this. He'd find some hole, he'd get an extra 4 yards.
Yeah.
What looked like a 2 to 3 yard run, he got 7 out of. When he's in the open field, he can fly decently well. He can get you another 20 plus. Yeah. He can shake defenders. You just need a guy on the offensive line that can get him that space or at least some better run block scheming. You don't get rid of Saquon. I still think Dallas Goedert is old. I don't know how much time you have in Dallas Goedert. You trust him. We'll go with you on that one.
He's a free agent. He's not coming back. He's going to be too.
Yeah.
He's too expensive. He had, or outside of probably McBride and Pitts, he probably had the 3rd best tight end season this year. Maybe not 3rd, but easily top 5. Like
he's been great this year.
He had 13. He had 14 total touchdowns.
Do you really trust Calcaterra?
He's a free agent too. He's not coming back either. Yeah, no. You're gonna see because neither of them can run block. That was also kind of a big problem, which was a big difference from years past. But yeah, you're gonna see new tight ends for the Eagles next season. But yeah, offensive line that needs to be reinvested in. I'm sorry, get a new fucking center. Put Juergens back to guard. He was terrible this season. I don't know if that's because of injury. Tyler Steen was also awful, so. Let's slide Juergens back to guard. He's a clearly much better player there. Let's get a new center instead of a new guard and a new tackle for Lane Johnson, and we'll roll with it. Defensively, obviously, you just got to retain what you got. Nakobe Dean will not be coming back, though. We drafted his replacement last season, and he's too expensive. He's probably, in my opinion, Nakobe Dean will be the free agent. He's the best off-ball linebacker in my opinion in the league, and he's definitely top 3 if you don't agree with me, but there's no other off-ball linebacker that good that'll be a free agent, so he will get a blank check to wherever he wants to go, so I'm happy for him, but obviously I think he wants to stay in Philadelphia, but that will not be the case unless Howie Roseman works his magic again. We all have faith in him, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But first order of business is removing the terrorist from our organization because people are having interviews, Howie. Let's get guys in our building. And I guess the best way to finish this sort of part of the segment is a wish list. Obviously, I think Mike McDaniel, that would be the number 1. But based on reports, I think he's going to become a head coach just off some of the interviews he's been getting. And other reports indicate that if he was to take a coordinator role, I think he likes the Lions more than the Eagles. So I would really like Brian Daboll to be in the building for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he has a good track record calling plays for an NFL offense. You look at the Buffalo Bills. He has worked with He's worked with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley before, so there's some familiarity there. And I mean, he should know how some of these other in-division defenses work if he had to scheme against them all those years. So maybe that could be one.
Pitch for him, hey, let's go get this guy. So, yeah. Add any last notes because we have dragged on this Eagles game as well.
Well, I was kind of planning on this being the longest segment. Fuck Kevin Patullo till I die. I think this is the biggest question for me, and I don't know how how well you are associated with Philly sports and all that matter, but who is worse for the city of Philadelphia, Chip Kelly or Kevin Patullo? Because I would take Kevin Patullo 10 days a week, every hour.
I saw everyone knows the infamous Kevin Patullo incident that happened off the field this year. You know what I'm talking about?
He got doxxed again. His address has been all over social media. He's probably had to move.
Philly fans are ruthless. I know the people threw eggs at his house.
No, people threw rocks at his house. Let's practice some correct journalism here, because clearly the Philadelphia ones don't.
Okay, my apologies.
No, they threw fucking rocks at his house.
I saw. Can we replace the eggs with frag grenades?
Yeah, no. So, well, all right. Last point, but the original story was, people were throwing eggs, and then some guy came out and said, "Stop fucking lying, bro. We were throwing rocks at that." I can't repeat that word, but we were throwing rocks at that person's house.
All right, let's. Do we even talk about the 49ers at all?
We'll talk about them next week. We'll talk about next episode.
Team. Robert. Let's just say Robert Saleh.
Coaching masterclass.
Yeah, great DC. Even with all the injuries, he's still putting up very good coaching numbers with that defense. And Brock Purdy goes into Philadelphia and wins again. It just, we'll see what happens. Rossi Takes now has to make an OnlyFans. All right.
Oh, is that her punishment?
That was the top comment. So
that's low-key better.
She pinned it and she liked it.
Yeah, which means she's probably going to do it already.
Because it'll make her money.
Yeah, so she was probably planning on doing it already.
Yeah, and she pinned it because she wanted to be top comments so people would like it.
So, I mean, that's better than getting pregnant by a homeless person.
Or going to Thailand and learning jiu-jitsu. That
one's kind of cool. That's an adventure, at least. That's an adventure. Letting a homeless guy impregnate you, there's nothing good comes from that.
It's crazy.
All right, let's move on. Time for the stinkers. Wow, here we go. Not much to really say here. Chargers, kind of like what I said. At some point, your offensive line's going to give up on you. And that's what happened to Justin Herbert. Has yet to win a playoff game and adds on to his impressive resume of playoff losses. So, Brooks, initial reactions to that game.
Initial reactions to that game.
Patriots are so fucking lucky.
I wouldn't say lucky. Great defense. Offensive line sucks for the Chargers.
But that's my point though. Is I know, but let me point this point out here. Jaguars play the Chargers, and the Bills play the Patriots. Those are two different outcomes. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Continue.
Seating, where people can make the argument that instead of getting based 1 through 7, that the 2 seed, the 1 seed gets a bye, and then the 2 seed picks their opponent.
No, I like how the seeding works. The seeding's fine.
Okay, all right. We talk about Justin Herbert being the if man. That's his nickname, the if man.
Yeah, because he is.
But my God, man, I mean, just losing Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater is very detrimental, and we saw that.
Yeah.
Very great game from the Chargers defense. I think the Chargers are in an interesting spot.
I think we say that every season, Brooks.
Because you need to go out and we'll see if – who is their offensive coordinator? Who is his name again? It's slipping my mind, but I think a lot of people want him gone. I know Jesse Minter, the DC, is getting head coaching looks and might actually go. So you might have a double coordinator change for the Chargers.
Which is hard to manage.
And I think this team, once again, is sitting maybe one win less next year is my guess. 1 win less, maybe the same. I think the coordinator changes will hurt.
No, it's going to kill them. And let me explain this, right? Eagles went to the Super Bowl, lost both their coordinators. Disaster season follows, right? Late season collapse in 2023. Lost games to the fucking Cardinals, for crying out loud, and then first round loss. Last year, Detroit Lions lose both their coordinators. What was it? It was a divisional exit for them. They lost to the Commanders, lost both their coordinators.
Yeah, Glenn and Johnson.
Yeah, disaster season, losing record, didn't make the playoffs. Losing both coordinators is hard because you have to basically rebuild philosophy on both sides of the ball. You look at their division, Broncos. Obviously, we haven't seen them play in the playoffs, but next season, I think it's safe to assume they're going to be competitive. Chiefs.
My thing.
Terrible season, but like still Andrew Reid and Patrick Mahomes. You don't want to count them out. And this kind of feels weird to say, Brooks, but
I was gonna say it too.
number one, first overall pick, Mendoza balls out, which a lot of people think he might. You get a good head coach in there. I think he will, but you get a good head coach in there to help his growth. Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, Trey Tucker.
No, I'm not saying the Raiders are going to be good next year.
I'm not saying they're going to be good, but
they'll be better.
But they could be better than the Chargers. That's my point. Is you lose
Better
both
than
coordinators? Yeah.
Hell no.
We'll see.
Next year, I'm down to put my bank on that one.
I'm not going to put a ton of money on that, but I'm just saying. Don't be surprised because, again, losing coordinators hurts. We don't know how their personnel is going to look next season. I'm not too familiar with their cap situation, but sometimes you lose coordinators. Players don't want to play for the team anymore. They really were only there for that guy. So a lot of things change when you lose both your coordinators. And, it's a lot to kind of come back from and get ready for next season. And you look at all the other challenges in their division. Also, they have a 2 seed or a second a 2 schedule for their division next season. So they'll be playing some other hard teams. I think that's right away. That's the 49ers. That's the Cowboys. We'll see how they look next season. If we will stay in the AFC, that's the Texans. That's the Bills. So
they have to play. Ready? Here you go.
Texans, Bills, and and the Ravens. Yeah, the Ravens. So yeah, that's my whole point, Brooks, is
listen to this. Oh my goodness. Listen to this schedule. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They have to play. Remember, okay, let's just get these out of the way. At Denver, at Kansas City, at Las Vegas, Kansas City, Las Vegas, Denver. Okay.
Yep.
Those to me are 4 to 5 games that are tough. Okay.
Yeah, that should be.
They have to play at Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In wherever their stadium is going to be. They have to play New York Jets and Cardinals at home. That's 3 wins.
Yep.
49ers at home. Tough game. At Los Angeles Rams. At Seattle. At Baltimore. Houston. Tampa Bay, I think, is a win.
Yeah.
At Miami, probably a win. But those are some tough games on there, man.
So that's my point. I would not be surprised if the Las Vegas Raiders had a better record next season than the Los Angeles Chargers. So that's all I'm going to say. Chargers got a very.
I look at the Raiders schedule. And it's kind of it's wishy-washy.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously if they have to play the NFC West, that's going to suck. But
yeah.
But they're also. But you look at the games that the Chargers have to play. Those are, again, 2 seed games, whereas the Raiders are playing 4 seed games. So, and again, Mendoza could come in and be a baller. So they could go to the playoffs, honestly. The sky's the limit with this kid. But, Chargers, it's going to be an off season for sure. And we'll talk about the Patriots more next week or next episode. Finally, our last game of the week. Houston, Pittsburgh. Same year, same results, Brooks.
Same year, same results. I cashed big on that game. Actually, you know what?
You kind of say that about the Chargers game too, but yeah, same year, same results.
I have to say this, Baron. I'm sorry. Won a lot of money in that 49ers game.
That's fine.
That's
as long as you
weren't
weren't
the Eagles were in this game. I was just double jinxing.
Yeah, as long as you weren't there with me.
All right, that's fine.
You would have died.
Steelers, I'm not surprised they lost. I told
I don't think
everyone
anyone is.
around me. I told every Steelers. Yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Everyone was like, the Steelers will make a competitive game. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's at.
I only heard that from Steelers fans.
Yeah, what are we doing here? Texans defense is the best in the league. Maybe. I mean, I saw a tweet as well. I know I'm a big Twitter guy. I saw Texans can just run this play and they'll be fine. It was just cover 2 man. Like they can just run cover. It's a Texas DC is the best job ever. Cover 2 man and that's it.
Well,
Yeah, it's a good Texans defense. Texans offense is shaky. They played the Steelers defense, who's been up and down, but mostly up at the end of the year. Remember that he's been up at the end of the year.
it's true.
So, we have to give a little bit of credit there. But still, I think this Texans team is. We'll talk about next week's game. Of course, they are playing the Patriots.
Yep.
In New England. And we'll see how that goes. Drake May playing a really tough defense, but in Foxborough. We just stick to this game.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense is the story. That's what it is.
Yep.
It was 7-6 at halftime.
Wow.
It was 10-6, I think, going into the fourth quarter. Maybe even 7-6. I don't. Was that Fairbairn at the start of the fourth quarter? And then it was just an implosion because that fumble recovery for a touchdown, that interception for a touchdown. They had one more thing. Woody Marks scored a touchdown. So the defense stepped up. They made massive plays. The only way the Texans can win next week, in my opinion, is if the defense can closely replicate that defense. Because the Chargers, they didn't force. I think they may force 2 turnovers last week. But
yeah, they did. No, you're right. Drake May at least threw one interception, and I think there was a fumble.
But that offense was putrid from the Chargers. And offense for the Texans was not good.
No.
And it seems like a replica match to me next week. Seems like we can maybe very well see what happened Sunday night. Could also happen. I think that's the Sunday eve or is that the evening?
I don't know. We'll talk about that next week. But yeah,
the Bears Rams are the night game.
There you go.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, can we say CJ Stroud's not good? Like, can we as a country come together and just say that? Like, great rookie year, but like, I mean, he was doing his best Justin Herbert impression last night. So.
Hey, you wouldn't take Justin Herbert as a quarterback because
not in the playoffs. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I'd take him in the regular season, and my Falcons can't win regular season games. So.
Well. You know what? This isn't a time period pick, Brooks. You have a quarterback, you have them the entire time. So I don't want Justin Herbert because he's not going to do shit for me in the playoffs because that's when it matters. I'd rather take a guy that will get me to a 9-8 season, sneak into a wild card, and then will come alive in the playoffs and give us hope there rather than play a great regular season, blah, 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 win, 13 games, get all this whatever, fuck that, and then you just put up a dud and lose in the first round every single time. I just would not want that because that sucks. I would never want that. So yeah, CJ Stroud, we'll put him in the Justin Herbert category. All right, can we do that? Can we put both of them in their own little category and then put them somewhere in the middle of the pack because they're not good, but they're not bad either. Fine. Regardless, yeah, no, they need to run the ball more because, I mean, 3 interceptions and you still win. Yeah, that's a defensive masterclass. And we'll talk about the game more next week, but they say defense wins championships, Brooks. How far is this one going to go? Because that offense needs to pick it up if they want.
That defense of the Patriots was really good last week.
Yeah,
really good.
It really was. So yeah, we're just gonna have to kind of wait and see. I feel like
the Texans are just match up very similarly.
It's just I think the Texans are like this year's, and I know we just came from the wild card round, but this is like the wild card team, right? Like they could fuck around and beat anyone, but at the same time they're probably gonna lose to the Patriots. So
yeah, and my thing is that this team is just way too similar to the Chargers, especially offensively.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You look at Nico Collins is their number 1 guy. I don't think the Chargers.
Who's out? He's injured too.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's out. Look at Christian Kirk, Ladd McConkey, Quinn Johnston. Like you just kind of got the same guys. Amari and Hampton, Woody Marks, Nick Chubb with your Najee Harris a little bit. I mean, this team is very similar. You know, Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, poor offensive line. I mean, they're very similar when they played against each other. Very close scoreline. Remember that. Chargers almost came back. So,
Yeah, we'll just have to kind of
I
wait
think
and
the
see, I
Chargers and I
guess.
think the Patriots are getting a little bit of a very similar opponent.
Yeah,
Now,
true.
to the Steelers. We can quickly gloss over this one. This is a very long episode.
Well, that's kind of
Um,
supposed to be.
yeah, we
Got
can
a lot to
quickly go
talk
over this one.
about.
Maybe we'll take our time. Baron Tomlin.
Bye-bye.
I think he stayed.
He's gonna stay. He made it to the playoffs again.
But the thing
Winning record.
is,
Mm-hmm.
he has 1 year left on his contract.
Ooh, so you're saying they won't re-sign him?
I think he stays, but they won't re-sign him.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I'm just like at
It'll
some
be
point.
it'll be 20 years, right? Perfect 2-0. All right, 2 decades, Tomlin. We've had you in 2 decades. You've won 1 Super Bowl. Bye-bye.
Right. I mean, and this is gonna make a lot of Steelers fans mad, but like his resume is really not that much better than like Nick Sirianni's. So like, what are we doing? You both got a Super Bowl win, great winning percentages, all the other bullshit. Obviously, Mike Tomlin has coached a lot more All Pros and Pro Bowlers.
Hey.
2 decades in the league, that would be the difference.
19 straight years without a losing season.
And that's remarkable. But
Thank you. That is remarkable.
at the same time, only 1 Super Bowl win in all that time. How many appearances in all that time? Is it 2? Only 2?
They lost to the Packers.
So yeah,
They
2.
won against the Cardinals. I mean, it's just 2.
So 2 Super Bowl appearances in those 19 years. Again, how many Super Bowl appearances does Nick Sirianni have?
So like, they fixed Tom Brady.
That's true. But that's kind of my point, though, is when you've got a guy who's been around as long as that, like at some point, and I guess maybe Steelers fans are content with this sort of purgatory they're living in, but like, yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, let's just, again, play devil's advocate. Aaron Rodgers retires. Who's the Steelers quarterback next season? A free agent who's probably going to be mid at best, or a young guy that they're going to draft late round that's not going to pan out to be good, and then we're just going to keep repeating the cycle.
Cade Klubnik.
Oh, God. Yeah, that'll be terrible. So that's the whole point is
Malik Willis.
But again, but Brooks, that's basically the exact same thing they did with Justin Fields. So it's like, what are we doing? I think at some point you need to take a step back as owners, right?
Okay, as owners.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Say, thank you for your service, Mike Tomlin. And maybe that's next season when they don't renew his contract. But they got to go, thank you for your service, but we're tired of living in purgatory. You lose a season, 3-win season, whatever it is, top 3 pick, top 1 pick, get a generational quarterback, build off of that, and let's go win Super Bowls again. I mean,
now,
yeah, no, sorry, go for it.
I was having this debate, another debate I had, and it was like, the Steelers might be the only team in the playoffs where I go, if they lose, right? Everyone in the wild card core. We talk about the winning teams, of course. If they lose, I think it's the only team that I go, that's a rebuild. Everyone's a retool. I think that's a rebuild.
I think if the Texans lost, I would be on the verge of a rebuild just because their offense. I know their defense is good, but their offense is abysmal. Like, I think you need to rebuild that from the ground up.
They just need an offensive line. But you look at the Steelers offense. Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, right? That's not like a star in the backfield. Aaron Rodgers,
that was the best running back duo last season, Brooks. What are you talking about?
Bijan, Tyler Algier, have over.
Exactly. It's like they just sound so stupid.
DK Metcalf's your wide receiver 1. Your wide receiver 2 is Calvin Austin. Freiermuth is your tight end. Your offensive line is mid as well, right? You're stuck in consistency. And what is consistency, Baron? It's hell.
Oh yeah, look at their defense. Who are your best 2 defensive players? TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. How old are they? Cool. Let's move on. Sorry, not from the Steelers, from the defensive line. But yeah, like you said, consistency is hell.
And I think you have to make a decision. And that decision is, I don't think you can go. I don't think the only way that I can see the Steelers owners going, okay, we have our chips, we're going all in, is because of the AFC North. You look at the AFC North, and the AFC North used to be the best division in football maybe 2-3 years ago, right? I think the AFC North has now slumped down to one of the worst divisions in football.
Yeah, second
And
worst.
I was going to say, I think it's right down there with the NFC South. I think it is.
No,
You look at
easily.
the AFC East, AFC West, and AFC South, right? You have winning teams there. AFC South, people are arguing for them, but remember, they had almost 3 winning teams this year. You look at the NFC, NFC East, NFC West was the best this year. NFC North is maybe one of the. Remember, the AFC North or the NFC North did not have a losing team this year. NFC South and the AFC North, to me, are the bottom 2 divisions.
And you can
That's
make a
why
case for NFC East still.
But I think the NFC East, right? The NFC East has. Here's my point. NFC East has the Eagles. The Eagles are great. I think the Cowboys are still a pretty solid team, and I still think there could be a verdict out there. I still think the Commanders and the Giants are 2 teams that I would not be surprised if they either sucked or they made a run. I could see with Jackson Dart leading the helm, right? But I don't want to get too much into that.
Oh, if John Harbaugh goes to the Giants, I would put money on them to go to the playoffs.
There's my point.
Yeah.
That's, again.
But I'm talking about from the previous season. It was terrible. But yes, continue with your point.
So the AFC North, the Browns, I think are not ready to be there. The Ravens have a slew of problems. I mean, we can talk about the Ravens for a while.
Yep.
The Bengals have a slew of problems. I mean, you look at that team might blow up.
Exactly.
That team might blow up. I mean, you look at the offense. They have no offensive line. They have star skill players, and that defense sucks. The Ravens, that defense actually got a lot better over the time, but that offense is getting to a point now where it's like, hey, Derrick Henry's old. How much does he have left in the tank? The wide receivers suck. The offensive line has some issues. The Steelers are just there.
Yeah.
But even though they're there, they won the division. And there is not a surprise in my mind if they go, we can just win this division again. And if you're in the playoffs, this is the owner's spot speaking here. If you're in the playoffs, there's always a chance.
No, there's not.
And that's where I see the owners go, you know what? Let's go trade for a quarterback. How about we go get a Joe Burrow, right? How about we go get someone like that? They're not going to trade in division, but how about we go push all our chips in and go get someone?
That's what it feels like they've been doing this past decade, and it hasn't ever since Big Ben retired. It has been a rotating door of Steelers quarterbacks, whether they trade for them, sign them in free agency, draft them. They all suck. Like they have not, and I say this when I say draft, I say late round drafts. Like Kenny Pickett was a late first round pick when I don't remember the other quarterbacks in his class who they were. I don't think they were good.
Quarterback class was
good. Exactly. I don't even think that quarterback class was good. So I don't know why you're taking a quarterback from that class. It seems like malpractice. We're going to throw this word out here again. And I'm sorry, for a team as historically great as the Steelers, winning the division isn't enough. This is a team for the longest time held the record and prided themselves on the most Super Bowls in the whole league. And that could very well damn near end this season, Brooks. The Patriots could overpass them. They have a legit chance to win a Super Bowl this season. The Steelers haven't won a playoff game in almost 10 years, okay?
Obama was the president.
Exactly. 10 years. They just set a new record. They've lost 5 consecutive playoff games by 10 or more points. They're the first team in NFL history to do that. Like, I don't know how, if you're a Steelers fan, you take a step back and you're like, yes, let's keep doing this. This is abysmal, in my opinion, if you're looking at that's a historic Steelers franchise. I mean, I'm sure Terry Bradshaw hates this shit. I can only imagine what all these other Steelers legends think. Ben Roethlisberger damn near was like about to cry on national television if you were watching the Peyton cast last night, or the Manning cast, whatever that stupid shit's called. But like, this is one of the league's most premier and historic teams, Brooks. And they're just dicking around like it's nothing. And yeah, no, at some point, I'm calling for new ownership. Like, this is just pathetic. It's pathetic is what it is. Because it's insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting new results. And it doesn't work. And if it's not insanity, then it's just malpractice, because that just means they're okay with this mediocrity. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, no one cares about mediocrity. They want to either be winning or losing, because losing, the way the NFL works, is losing puts you in a position to be winning. And they just refuse to accept that. So, and I'm sorry. And you can call me crazy or whatever, but I don't give a shit about his winning record, his consecutive winning record. Oh, he's never had a losing season.
I don't think anyone cares.
I don't think they do, but like, who the fuck cares? Like, that doesn't mean shit. That just means you do just enough that your team stays in mediocrity forever, and that's not good. That's just not. If you have all these winning records, at some point you got to go out and win the big thing, and if you can't do that, goodbye.
You brought a point, and that was they drafted Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett was the first quarterback drafted that draft class.
Exactly.
That was with the 20th pick in the draft. That was I remember that was the Trayvon Walker draft.
Oh, yeah,
where it was like, who really is
all-time
who
stinker?
Really is,
what year was that?
Really 2022. Let me read you the names.
Oh, I know we did that draft.
Yeah, what'd you do?
That was Jordan Davis, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
If it wasn't, then we just traded for AJ Brown. But I think that was the year prior.
There were some good names in that draft.
That was the Jordan Davis draft.
That was Jordan Davis, that draft.
Jordan Davis?
That was Jordan Davis. Here's some of the names that went before. You look at Jordan Davis, Kyle Hamilton, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Drake London. You have Kayvon Tittle, Kongwo, the offensive tackle that entered for the Panthers, is really good. Sauce Gardner, Garrett Stephen, Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe after, if you want to look at after, just in the first round alone, there's honestly maybe not. Quay Walker went, Trent McDuffie went, Tyler Smith, Tyler Linderbaum went.
Who were the other quarterbacks that were drafted that year?
Let me tell you, okay? Here were the quarterbacks drafted. There was no second-round quarterback. The only first-round quarterback was Kenny
Pickett, yeah.
Desmond Ridder went next to the Atlanta Falcons. Malik Willis went next to the Titans. Matt Corral went next in the third round. Those are three-rounders. We can talk about those three guys. Malik Willis is the only one that is still hanging in the league right now.
And he might be a Steeler.
Bailey Zappi went in the fourth round.
All right. Oh, that was... I know who this was. This was Brock Purdy draft, wasn't it?
I was going to tell you. The best pick of a quarterback was the last pick.
Yeah, that was the Brock Purdy draft.
After Zappi, Sam Howell. The Pittsburgh Steelers drafted a second quarterback that draft.
I do also remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
Skylar Thompson, Kansas State legend. Skylar Thompson went in the seventh round to the Dolphins. And with the last pick, Brock Purdy.
So, yeah, even somehow managed to fuck that up. So, like, that's my whole...
It's not a quarterback draft, I will say.
I know it's not, but, like, still. My whole point, but, like, if you need a quarterback, like, but that's the thing. If you're in this, because, again, it's not like around, let's rewind back to when this time period was. It's not like we were all sitting there like, oh, Steelers need to... Do the Steelers have a quarterback controversy? Like, everyone knows they needed a quarterback around that time period. So my question is, why do you wait to the worst draft to then go get one? Like, yeah, it just seems like this past decade's just been full of malpractice, and it just seems like no one cares, but everyone's fine and dandy with it because Mike Tomlin, he's never had a losing season. Look at this. He's so good. He wins football games. How many playoff games has he won? Let's look at Mike Tomlin's playoff record.
I'll look that up for you.
I bet it is the worst thing you have ever seen.
Mike Tomlin's playoff record.
Because you already know he has at least 11 losses.
8 wins and 12 losses. After a 5-2 start, his record has significantly dipped.
Yeah.
This one says he's now tied. I don't know if this is now true or not, but he's now tied for the longest record for most consecutive playoff losses. You'll never guess who that coach, although you know who he is, Marvin Lewis, 7 straight playoff losses. Yeah. I just like looking back at old draft classes because you can just look at the player comps and be like, why did the Jaguars take Trayvon Walker?
Yeah, that's true.
His NFL comp was Kwity Paye.
Mm-hmm.
Aiden Hutchinson was Jared Allen. Derek Stingley was Marshawn Lattimore. Sauce Gardner was Richard Sherman. Kayvon Thibodeau was Daniil Hunter. Ikem Okonkwo was Tristan Wirfs. This one might be my favorite one so far. There's another better one. Evan Neal was Jordan Mailata.
Hey, why don't you read him? Why don't you read him? Treylon Burks' draft comp from that class.
Drake London was Mike Evans.
Mhm.
Charles Cross, Taron Armstead. Garrett Wilson was Robert Woods. Chris
What a
Olave
shout.
was Terrence Coleman. Here's my favorite one. Jamison Williams, Odell Beckham Jr.
Ooh, that did not pan out.
Wasn't Treylon Burks a different draft class?
I thought that was 20. That was the same year as Jordan Davis.
That was?
Yeah, so it should be that class.
Well, I thought he was was he a second round pick or a first round?
He was a first round pick. Are you sure it's not Jalen Carter or Jordan? It's Jordan Davis.
It's Jordan Davis. Y'all traded the 18th overall. Oh, because that was the Colts pick from the Carson Wentz trade.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Treylon Burks, pick 18. NFL player comp. Do you know what it is?
Oh, I know who it is.
Do you want to say it?
No, you can say it. It's just so funny.
A.J. Brown.
I think that's the funniest thing out of the whole scenario is like, yeah, we don't want to pay this guy,
A.J. Brown.
so we're just going to go and draft his replacement, his literal replacement, and then it did not work out.
I guess the last thing I want to say before I'm kind of done is this is Aaron Rodgers' last game, right?
It's gotta be. I mean, that was a bad showing. But one more point to Mike Tomlin, because you said he had 5 playoff wins, right?
Tomlin?
Yeah, all time.
8-12.
8-12. Okay. Nick Sirianni's
But he started out 5.
All right. Well, Nick Sirianni's got 6 right now, so he's not too far off.
He's
Not too far off. So yeah, again, that's my point. Is personally, I couldn't give a shit about your winning record in the regular season. When it matters, you can't win. So I don't want you anymore. Goodbye.
There you go. If this was Aaron Rodgers' last game.
Boy, was it a stinker.
Yes, but if this was Aaron Rodgers' last game, let's just say this. Let's be honest here. I think we watched one of the most talented quarterbacks that may ever step in the league in maybe 50 years, 75 years. I will always tell my kid that if Aaron Rodgers had Bill Belichick and Tom Brady had Mike McCarthy, it might be a whole different scenario, you know?
No,
it might be a whole different scenario.
It wouldn't, because there are 2 very key differences between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady.
Yep.
No, that is a huge part about what I'm about to say, Brooks, because it has nothing to do with on-the-field talent. Tom Brady is a player who I don't think a lot of people give him enough credit for, but he actively took pay cuts from his contract because he's like, oh, I'm fucking Tom Brady. I'll make it back with endorsements.
Because I'm fucking Tom Brady.
So he actively took pay cuts from his paychecks so the Patriots could go out and sign better players to their roster so they could compete and win Super Bowls. And they won 6. Aaron Rodgers has never done that. In fact, I don't think he ever would do that. So that's kind of the difference between those 2 to me. And that's why I think that argument's kind of silly as well, because if Aaron Rodgers had Bill Belichick, yeah, his defense would have been good, but his teams would not have been as good. And there was an argument to be made those Packers teams might have been better. So no, I still think Tom Brady will forever be the greatest football player of all time. But
one of the best touchdown interception ratios of all
time.
time.
Aaron Rodgers will go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game. Definitely top 5. Arguably, I would put him top 3, but I could see some arguments for why he wouldn't be up there. But yes, one of the greats.
Also, only threw 1 touchdown pass to a first-round pick.
That's pretty remarkable.
So, very great career. I think this is also I think that was his last game. Genuinely,
probably.
We already spoke about it. I mean, we already spoke about it multiple times. Pat McAfee will be like, "This is probably my last ride."
I mean, he's 35.
No, he's not.
He's not. How old is he?
35. He's gotta be.
Oh, he's 45. Yeah, he's 45.
Yeah, in his 40s.
Sorry. Yeah, 45. You're right. My bad. But yeah. I mean, I just don't see.
He's not. He's 42. Remember, because he's played in the league 20 years.
Because D'Amico Ryans is 41. I thought it was D'Amico Ryans was 44, and Aaron Rodgers is a year above him. Okay, regardless.
Years, so it's 22 plus.
Okay, we got it. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, the only team that has any interest of even giving him money would be the Steelers. I don't see why he would want to come back to this team if this is the state it's in. I mean,
I think the only way I think there's two ways Aaron Rodgers comes back as quarterback. And
as a
that
backup,
is
as like a mentor, but I don't think he would.
exactly.
That's
But
the thing.
that's
I don't
Aaron
think
Rodgers. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah, he
would
wouldn't
not
do
do
that. That's not the
Yeah.
type of person he is. Like,
Or
kinda,
maybe the Colts have another freak injury and Philip
No.
Rivers is done with his life. Aaron Rodgers
I
steps
think
right back into the sunset, baby.
I think they're pretty
Right back
comfortable with
to the
Riley Leonard being there at this point. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna see that.
Um,
Is there anything you would like to add before we close out, Brooks? Because we sure did record a long one today.
this was a really good episode.
Yeah.
No, I think
Got all
that's
my
all we
anger
gotta add.
out.
Should we do a Friday episode?
Yeah, we'll do a Friday. We'll do a Friday morning. Probably. Can you do Friday morning?
Ooh, I start at
Thursday night.
9.
We'll do a Thursday
Thursday
night,
night?
so it'll be out Friday.
Thursday night is actually the only night I can do, probably.
Perfect.
Or Friday night.
Okay,
So,
that's fine. Well, we'll do it Thursday night, so it'll be out Friday. So all of our lovely viewers can watch before this weekend's action and get all our amazing thoughts and insight. Amazing, but yeah, we'll make sure it's out there before then.
Other than that, that'll be another episode of Nothing Agreed. Thank you all so much for listening. Give us your divisional takes. Who's going to win? We'll have that, of course, ready. Be ready for that on Friday.
So mainly, what are your wild card thoughts?
Exactly. Give us your wildcard thoughts. What are your thoughts about the teams that are eliminated? Other than that, that'll be another episode of Nothing Agreed. Thank you so much for listening, and peace.